slow down. You got to slow down and take it easy. Slow down. You got to slow down and take it easy. Oh yeah.
Well, hello and welcome to a Stogie review tips and tricks video. And this time around I'm going to demonstrate how I use my Cigar MTX multi-tool, my cigar scissors. What I'm going to demonstrate doesn't necessarily require you to have the multi-tool, just scissors in general. So just before I get started, let me tell you that this is my method. It may be right, it may be wrong. In some circles it's preferred, in others I'm sure it's probably not. But in any case, sit tight and I'll show you how I use my cigar scissors. Well, here we are with our cigar. This one just happens to be an Oliva Serie V Double Robusto. And we've got our cigar scissors. But before we start working with the scissors, most of what you're using is some type of guillotine cutter. And now this cigar is a little too large to do an exaggeration, but most times you're clipping just a little bit off the cigar. But there are many people that kind of encroach the shoulder and insert the cigar quite far into the cutter. Now, what I mean by encroach the shoulder is it's going to be difficult to see, I realize, but you've got the cap back here, the flat part of the cap, which is where I primarily like to cut. As soon as you start rounding over, you're getting into the shoulder. I don't like to get in past that round. I like to stay back here as much as possible. So regardless of whether I'm using the scissors or I'm using the guillotine cutter, I'm always trying to stay way back here in that flat spot. And the idea of the scissors is to prune and shape your cigar. I mean, while you could just take these scissors, put it right in the middle of the cigar, it's really not a great idea. So you want to stay as far back as possible. And what I like to do is just open the scissors a little bit, press them back against the cap. Again, I'm way back here on the flat spot, and I've got barely any of the cigar sticking through. With pressure, I'm usually using my index finger. With pressure down on the scissors, I can shear off just a little bit of the cigar. As you can see there's hardly anything removed. Now, I normally take a little bit more off of that, but the whole idea is to just go around with the scissors. Cut off what you need to, expose as much as you need, or as much as you like, and really that's all there is to it. Check the draw, and it's great. Now, on occasion you get some binder that kind of rolls over back here, and with the scissors you're taking such a small, such a light amount of tobacco off the end that sometimes you don't quite get through that. And you don't always disturb the end. With a guillotine cutter, you've got the chopping action that seems to disturb the tobacco a little bit, and it typically loosens up the draw. With the scissors, the draw is a little firmer. My assumption is because nothing's being disturbed. There's no compression here. You're just working the end of the cigar. So in this case, if you check the draw and you don't have a flap of binder across the back of the cigar, you check the draw, it's a little firm, just work it in your fingers a little bit, or when you put it in your mouth, just a little bit of pressure to try to disturb and move the tobacco a little bit without cracking the wrapper, and typically the draw will loosen up. Or if you have the multi-tool, actually the thing I was using as a pointer, I'm not quite sure exactly what it's supposed to be, but I use it for a small draw correction tool quite a bit. But in any case, that is how I use my scissors. It's also worth noting that if you put the cigar in your mouth and just kind of wet the end a little bit, it makes it easier to work with the tobacco. Here you can see it flaked off quite a bit. Well, actually you can't see it, but I've got tobacco flakes here. If you wet the end of the cigar just a little bit, moisten the leaf, it'll become a little softer, a little more easy to manage, and you won't get as much of a tearing action. Now the end is pretty clean, but on occasion you'll get a tearing action, and I always like to just feel around the end for stems, and I do that regardless of whether I'm using a guillotine or scissors. And in this case, no stems, it's good to go. I would light it from here and start smoking. So at that point, I'm going to light my cigar and start smoking. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a better understanding on how exactly these scissors work. So in any case, until next time, happy smoking.